At this time, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to call the Muhlenberg County Financial Corporation to order at this time, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eric Blexinger.
Thank you, Chairman Tyler, distinguished board members. The purpose of this meeting is to pass a resolution to refinance the 2007 and 2010 bonds for the district. Mr. Joe Nance of RSA is here to talk about that.
Chairman Carter, members of the board, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. And usually when I come before a board, I'm here to help you spend money. Typically, we're issuing bonds to build a new school or to make improvements. Fortunately, tonight, I'm here to be able to present the opportunity to refinance two of your bond issues that will result in a substantial savings. And if you would, I think you have before you a two-page handout that says summary of refinancing opportunities. We currently have two bond issues that have relatively high interest rates compared to today's rates. And those two issues on the first page are our 2010 issue, which were originally issued to finance the construction of a new elementary, and I think we've determined that was Bremen that would have been done then. The rate on that is 5%. We also have our 2007 bonds that were issued for improvements at Central City Elementary, and the rate on that is 4%. Right now, we are really at near historic lows on interest rates. We're currently projecting that if the board which desires to move forward, that we can issue new refunding bonds to pay off the old bonds, and the average rate on the new bonds would be 2.45%. So what does that mean? If you flip to the second page of the handout, the second page, if we start from left to right, the second and third column where it says prior 2010 and prior 2007, that's the debt service that we're paying on those bonds now. And then the next column, total prior payments, is what our total payments are for both issues. The next column where it says new 2016 REF, the refunding bonds, that's what we're projecting your new payments will be once we refinance the bonds. And finally, the last column is what you're really interested in. This is our projected net savings to the district. So you can see we're projecting an average savings of approximately $40,000 per year for the remaining life of the bonds, for a grand total savings of $662,000. A couple of things I'll point out. Assuming that we move forward tonight, we will be able to actually conduct the bond sale next Wednesday. And at that point, we would be able to lock in the interest rates. I do not anticipate any interest rate fluctuation between now and next Wednesday. I'm very comfortable that we're going to be able to save at least the $662,000. And as a matter of fact, based on rates we received today on a similar issue, we'll actually be able to save more. But I think from the board standpoint, you would consider this a minimum savings that we'll be able to achieve to move forward. Any questions?
This is a fixed rate, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
And it's fixed rate, and the other point is we're not extending the bond payments or shortening. You're going to make your bond payments at the exact same time we were before. So we're just fixing in new rates on a new bond issue to pay off the owes, exactly the same as refinancing your mortgage.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions? Other questions? Thank you.
So what we have before us is an actual action item. I have a second handout in front of you, and it's the second resolution that says the Muhlenberg County School District Finance Corporation resolution. If acceptable, we would just need a motion and a second to adopt that resolution as presented.
Board members, I need a motion to accept the resolution as presented. I'll make that motion. We need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion or question? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries.
And I might just make one more comment just for clarification. We just approved this as the Finance Corporation, and you'll notice later on in your agenda for your board, you're going to be taking action as the board to basically confirm the action that we've just taken. So it is a two-step process. Thank you all.
Thank you. At this time, board members, I'll need a motion to adjourn Remember County Financial Corporation at this time?
I make a motion to adjourn the financial.
We have a motion to adjourn the Financial Corporation meeting. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of doing so, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We are adjourned. At this time, we'll call the regular meeting of the Muhlenberg County School Board, August meeting of 2016 to order. Right now, we would like to have a moment of silence, so if you please bow with me. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to say the pledge. We have a flag over here. Will you please stand with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board members, at this time, part of the agenda is to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting. You've had a chance to look at them in your packets and through your email. Board members, do we have any changes or corrections in the minutes? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the minutes from the prior board meetings.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes from the prior board meetings, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. At this time, board members, we're going to approve the agenda for the board meeting tonight. Anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda. I'll make that motion to approve the agenda. And I'll need we have a second, Mrs. Hargrove. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. At this time, we'll turn our recognitions over to Mrs. Embry. We welcome her to.
Good evening, and thank you, Chairman Tarter, board members, Superintendent McCarty, and guests for the opportunity to recognize this fine group of amazing students. The Governor's Scholar Program is a summer residential program for outstanding high school students in Kentucky who are academically talented seniors now. The program was established in 1983 as the result of Kentucky leaders' concern that many of our state's brightest were leaving the Commonwealth to pursue education and career opportunities elsewhere without fully understanding the potential for utilizing their talents at home. To be selected for this program, one must undergo a stringent screening process consisting of being nominated by their high school, then competing on a statewide level. Selection for this program is fiercely competitive with an application process similar to that of prestigious colleges and universities. In addition to an academic profile that includes difficulty of course load, GPA, and at least one standardized test score, the application requires an outline of all extracurricular activities, a history of volunteer service, and a list of job positions held. The final component is an original essay. This year, there were 13 of our students chosen. When I call your name, please come forward to receive your certificate and our congratulations. First is Miss Lydia Baggett. Lydia is the daughter of Brian and Lucinda Baggett of Greenville. She attended GSP at Morehead State. Next is Carmen Bandy. Carmen is the daughter of Eric and Joan Bandy of Greenville. She attended GSP at Northern Kentucky University. Next is Amy Benningfield. Amy is the daughter of Richard and Holly Benningfield of Greenville. She attended GSP at Murray State. Next is Rebecca Fleener. Rebecca is the daughter of Wendell and Jackie Fleener of Bremen. She attended GSP at Moorhead State. Next is Kirsten Ford. Kirsten is the daughter of Chris and Nina Ford of Greenville. She attended GSP at Northern Kentucky University. Next is Will Lewis. Will Lewis is the son of Eddie and Jennifer Lewis of Bremen. He attended Murray State University. Next, Leah McDonald. Leah is the daughter of Rocky and Tammy McDonald of Beech Creek. She attended GSP at Murray State. I don't believe Hope Mohan, she was unable to make it. She was sick. She's the daughter of Brian and Beth Mohan of Drakesboro, and she attended Moorhead State. Carly Shoemaker is another one who is unable to be here tonight. I'm sorry. She is the daughter of Robert and Peggy Shoemaker of Central City. One more that is not here again tonight. Caitlin Short, and she is the daughter of Jonathan and Emily Short of Greenville. Lindsay Tucker. Lindsay Tucker is the daughter of Danny and Lori Tucker of Bremen. She was unable to attend Moorhead State due to an illness. I don't believe Brielle Toohey made it in either. I didn't see her. She is the daughter of Bob and Gwen Toohey of Greenville. This one's here. Lastly, but certainly not least, is Kristen Wells. Kristen is the daughter of Scott and Susan Wells of Greenville. She attended GSP at Northern Kentucky University. We are so proud of you students for this accomplishment and for you parents who endured 5 weeks without them this summer. So kudos to you. We have one more amazing student to recognize tonight for her many accomplishments through a sport she just started 2 years ago. Miss Amber Mays is a senior at Muhlenberg County High School. She is one of the best female archers in the world, and I did say world, after receiving a first place finish at the World All-Star Archery Championship in South Africa in July. Finishing first in the Kentucky High School State Tournament, Amber finished 5th in National Tournament. She joined the National All-American team before traveling to South Africa to compete in the week-long World All-Star Archery Championship and received a first-place finish. Amazing. Amber is the daughter of Jason and Pam Mays of Bremen. Please join me in a round of applause as Amber receives her certificate and all her medals. Amazing. There.
Next up is our Treasury Report. Mr. Bledsinger.
Thank you, Chairman Tarr, distinguished board members. This month I'm bringing the July 31st, 2016 Treasurer's Report. First we'll start off with revenues. Now I apologize, it's rather unclear on the screen, but the first number of significance is the federal cash request. This month we received $176,000. That's down $346,000 from the previous month. That's all basically timing issues. We did have a significant increase in capital outlay and FSPK, which are used for bond payments. That was $670,800, and that's again used for debt service. Excuse me. Food service, they don't see any activity in July, so it was $188. That's down $222,000. So overall, the total monthly receipts were $2.98 million, and that's down $463,000. Our expenditures this month, or excuse me, in July, accounts payable was $358,749, with $61,696 going towards our debt service. Our accounts payable, accounts payable this month were down approximately $1 million from the previous month. Payroll in July is significantly small because we don't have teacher pay going out at that point. It's $687,873, and that's down $3.5 million. So total expenses for the month of July was $1,046,623. The accounts payable breakdown from last month, 22.31% were used on utilities for about $80,000. Fixed expenses were $188,600, and variable expenses were about $90,000. So the accounts payable breakdown, year-to-date reduction has been about 22.57% in accounts payable in comparison to the previous year. Accounts payable last month, 88% of that was general fund, with approximately 11% going to utilities, 80% going to fixed expenses, and about just a little over 8.5% going to variable expenses. Of total accounts payable, 37% of those were project related, and that's still catching up on some of the end of year projects which is why there was a greater expense in June again. And about 2.5% went to SBDM. I apologize, you can't see that. The ledger balance at the end of this month, the cash on hand was about $13.89 million. That's up $1.9 million, and that's strictly a sole function of we did the four payrolls in June, and in July you can only pay the 12-month people in the classified. The breakdown of the July cash balance, general fund has a $12 million balance, which is up about $1.2 million. Special revenue of Fund 2s is at about $400,000, which is up about $110,000 in comparison to the previous month. Debt service, as you saw, that we brought in over $600,000, so it's about $609,000 up from the previous month. Food service is down about $23,000. Daycare funds are down about $4,500, and that's a function of receiving payments at the end of the year. So once they receive those payments, they catch back up with their fund balance for a total of about $14.4 million. The extended financial picture, and I'll send this out to you all. I opted to go a 6-month because I think it's going to give you a better accurate picture, and I know you can't see that, but I broke it down in terms of cash, other revenue, which I've added all the other revenues back in, which are federal grants, state grants, food service and daycare, our SEEK funding that we receive, any taxes that we receive, those are the monthly estimates that we have, and an additional line called additional revenue, which encompasses TVA, our capital outlay funds, and preschool funds. So in December 2016, I expect to have about $12.6 million in our account. Do you have any questions?
Board members, do we have any questions for Mr. Bledsinger? At this time, I need a motion to approve the Treasury Report.
I make a motion that we approve the Treasurer's Report.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the Treasury Report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none, motion carries. Next up is the payment of bills and salaries. Mr. Blitzinger.
This month I bring $942,000 and $918,000 in board bills. Of those, $193,000 is general fund, $92,000 is from Fund 2, and the large chunk of this is that we have a bond payments of $656,000 included in there, and then food service at $342. The breakdown of those: utility expenses was about 7.5%, fixed expenses 78.53%, and the majority of that again is your bond payment, and variable expenses are approximately 14%. Of those, the Fund 1 expenses, utilities are 36%, fixed are about 23%, and variable expenses are 40%. And then the checks of notable expenses were for Bytespeed, which were hardware, about $12,570. There was a professional development that was about $12,000. Hatch is software. It's $15,425. McGraw-Hill were textbooks, $16,888, and the Old Wealth Management was $27,000 and $621,000 debt service, and then teachers' curriculum was also textbooks, and those were paid out of Funds 1 and 2, and those were in the total of $17,718.
Board members have any questions on the bills and salaries? If not, I'll need a motion to approve payment of bills and salaries.
Move that we pay the bills and salaries.
We have a motion on the floor to pay the bills and salaries. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of paying the bills and salaries, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. At this time, we're down to public participation. We have one person that has signed up to speak. This is Joe Cooper.
Chairman Tarter, board members, first of all, I'd like to say I'm not a public speaker. And the second thing I'd like to say is I love and respect all teachers. My daughter is a teacher, and some of my best friends are also. But this last week, I've had several to come to me very disappointed about some comments made about classified staff. They feel like in the district that we are no longer a part of the team. I am not sure if everyone here knows how much the classified personnel does. It's a classified person who does payroll, a classified person who takes care of all of our insurance. It's a classified person who keeps up with the PD hours. It's a classified person who comes in at 4:30 a.m. to start breakfast for hungry students. It's a classified person who keeps our buildings cool in the summer and warm in the winter. It's a classified person who works on the copies to keep them up and going, and it's a classified person who comes in every time we have a computer problem. And how many times have you called them in the last 2 weeks? It's a classified person who brings the students to school, and it's a classified person who's out on icy roads in the winter at 3 a.m. to see if we can go to school. It's that classified person who cleans up the vomit when the flu breaks out. It's a classified person sitting at the front desk if a shooter, God forbid, comes in the school. Ask any special education or kindergartner teacher if they could make it without their classified aides. How many teachers depend on that classified person to make their copies each day? How many principals would be lost without their classified secretaries? The person taping this very board meeting is a classified person. It's a classified person who gets everything ready for each and every board meeting. It's a classified person who sets up IC for each teacher and runs every report to keep up with our attendance. It's a classified person who makes sure that needy students have clothes, shoes, and Christmas each year. It's a classified person who talks to our kids about drugs, gets mentors, and stays up past midnight at New Year's Eve parties to keep them safe. It's a classified person who calls in subs, pays the bills, and checks for lice. Lastly, I just want to say that the classified took a pay cut just like everyone else. But we have tried to be positive about our district because we don't want the students to suffer. We've heard that there may be a Christmas bonus this year and that the classified will be getting less than certified, which is wrong because it's a gift and we're all in this together. But the most important thing, it's really not about the money, it's about respect. And if anyone that feels like anything I've said is inaccurate, please feel free to comment or correct me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Next, we're down to administrative report. Superintendent, Mr. McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Tarter, board members. The first thing, I'll get Mr. Freeman to look at our enrollment report, kind of see where we're at on numbers right now in the district.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Mr. Chairman, board members, little different report this time. We do not have our first month attendance reported. The month closes August the 29th. But what I have is I have created a document that will make a little comparison. I have 3 columns showing enrollment for each school beginning August the 6th of last year, 2015, which was the first day of our 15-16 school year. Also have an enrollment for each school for May 25th of 2016, which is our last day for this past school year. And then I have a number for enrollment based on yesterday, August the 17th. Basically, just trying to give you a comparison. Last year, the first day was 4,948. The last day for this past school year was 4,827. And currently, as of yesterday, Wednesday the 17th, we had 4,782. So just some notes regarding this. From the start of school last year, we were down 166. From the end of school, we were down only 45 students. 6 of our schools' enrollment is down compared to last year. 4 of the schools' enrollment is up. 3 of our 5 elementary schools are below 400 in their enrollment. We are up 81 students since the first day of school, which was August the 4th. So over that 2-week period, it was reported in the paper 4,781 the first day, which was accurate. We have gained 81 students since then. So just a little information for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Lee. The second thing I want to update you on is the PIRE grant I mentioned back about a couple of months ago. I've been working with Jason Benson from PAD on this for the last few months. The initial work of the PIRE grant, which is a federal grant, it stands for Partnerships for Opportunity, Workforce, and Economic Revitalization. It's to take a look at, to begin studies on how our communities in Muhlenberg and Hopkins County, how our economies are going to be affected by the downturn in the coal economy. What we got last week was they let this bid out to 3 separate companies, firms. The firm of High Road, they're out of northern Indiana, has been chosen to conduct the study. It's going to begin in September. I've asked him to specifically to project the impact of the loss of these coal jobs could potentially have on our enrollment in numbers in the Muhlenberg County school system. So, first part of the PIRE grant is to do studies and to look at what we need and to kind of get the arms around where we're at as a county. The second part will be actually getting dollars in our county to maybe retrain some coal miners, displaced miners, possibly use our technical school to do that with some equipment that maybe our kids could use. So they're going to begin this in September, and the way they talked the other day, hopefully I'll have some projections to look at the beginning of 2017 on our enrollment and some stuff that's going on in our county. So it's important when Eric is, and we're looking at projecting out in the future, that us try to get a good guess of where we're going on enrollment. And our, not only the coal mines when they lay off employees, it's all the people that, the truck drivers, the shops, the hydraulic folks, the fuel people. It's a lot of people that get affected as well. So I'm needing as a superintendent to try to get a best guess on where this is heading with our enrollment. So just want to update you on that. The next part is Eric, Energy Report. Give us an update on that, where we're at and everything.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Apologize. Again, you can't really see this. Overall energy use compared quarter 2 of 2015 to quarter 2 of 2016, there was 2,708,398 kilowatt hours that was our usage in the first quarter, the second quarter of 2016. Second quarter of 2016 was 2,574,416. That's a decrease of about 133,982 kilowatt hours. And again, that's what translates into our savings. Reduction overall in that quarter is about negative 8.77 on our train systems. And again, you cannot see this, but the average was about 3.37 decrease, and the second quarter of 2015 was a decrease of about 15%. You're going to start seeing them taper off as we are starting to move into we had the drastic change, and now you're going to see them start tapering off. Bremen, it ticked up a bit. It actually grew at about 5.94%, and we're looking into that to see what's the underlying cause of that. Central City Elementary went down 5.73%. Greenville Elementary about 7.5% went down. South Elementary here went down about almost 4%, and North Middle went down about 5.7%. On our Honeywell systems, which are a little bit harder to control because they're a on or off system, and whereas the train systems, again, we can zone our buildings out. The average was still 6.2% reduction. Longest had about 0.5%, South Middle down 2%, East Campus stayed 0%, it was exactly flat, so it used the same amount. West Campus was down 8.73%, and the central office was down about 20.5%, and I think some of that has to do with our AC went out. So, the cost savings estimate, and what this graph is, and I'll send this out to you all, is I took our actual cost, what the total would have been with the same kilowatt hours and applying the 9% increase. And then I also calculated the cost if our previous trend had continued on. If our previous trend had continued on, that the last quarter would have cost almost $317,000. With the 9% increase, it was $307,000, but our actual cost was $289,000. So really, it was between $18,000 and $27,000 that it's not actual dollars, that's what we prevented. So just so you understand that, but I think it's important. This next slide was actually an email that I received from the state, and basically what they said, they just look at our data and our trends over the past couple of years. Your district is really doing great. I hope this is reflected in your costs. However, rate increases camouflage the effect. So we've been doing good things. I think since the inception, it's really worked well for our district, and we're finding new ways to help cut costs a little bit more. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Next thing on my report, it's in your packet. It's a KSBA regional meeting. You may have received a letter from Webster County Schools regarding the 2016 fall KSBA regional meeting that they are hosting on September the 6th. Just let us know by Monday if you plan to attend, and Sherry will get in the registrations for you in our district. It's a close site, and I thought it might be something you all want to get some eyes in on. The next thing is I'm going to try to do something each month with community support. I know we've got a lot of businesses, churches, and community members that support our schools and students in so many ways around here. But a couple this month, if you could see the picture, but you can't. It's the first one would be Old National Bank. They did a Tools for School. If you went by the bank, you saw a bus sitting outside. It's an initiative where they collected a lot of school supplies from the community and their employees. They also gave a check for $500 to our family resource coordinators that can make up additional school supplies purchases if needed. So myself and Penny went and boxed up several boxes there to take back. So that was one thing that the community was doing. The next thing was goodies. in Central City. You can see all those bags there. It was a clothing drive for our family resource centers as well. That was a lot of members and employees of Goodies donating those stuff for our students in Muhlenberg County. And as all you guys know, we have a lot of kids that need a lot of things in our county. So anytime we've got people that step up like this, it's really important. We're just so thankful to be part of a community that supports the kids in Muhlenberg County, and they do a lot for our kids. A lot of people do. So that concludes my report, Dr. Carter.
Quick question, Randy. We had thanks for all they do for our community and stuff. Appreciate your report. We had a phase 2 study back in the spring. Do you know kind of ballpark figure when they're going to unveil the findings of that this fall anytime?
I got that like this afternoon, like at 2. So
Okay.
I got it today.
So it'll be sometime September
It'll be
next month, next September, October.
Yes, yes, I got that today.
Right. Any other questions for Mr. McCarty? Thanks, Mr. McCarty. All right. At this time, board members, we are down to the board action items. Oh, no, we are not. We're down to the personnel actions from Mrs. Browning.
Good evening, everyone. The following personnel actions occurred for the period July 27th through August the 8th, 2016. In the area of certified personnel employment, there were 12. Resignation of certified personnel, there were 7. Reassignment of certified personnel, there were 7. Classified personnel employment, there were 18. Reassignment of classified personnel, there were 14. Resignation of classified personnel, there were 8. And rescinded letters of classified personnel, there were 3.
Busy month. Thank you,
It was
Ms.
very
Browning.
busy.
Thank you.
Hopefully things will calm down. Now, we're at the board action items. Board action item A is consider location change for the October-November board meetings. Mr. McCarty.
Oh, I got this email from Brian Lyle. They were supposed to hold the October board meeting, but Brian and them have a game scheduled that evening, so he had checked with Donna, and she was willing to host the October meetings. So basically, we just wanted to flip the board meetings to accommodate what's going on down in South Middle.
So it's east. We're voting on to change it to east.
It's east, correct, Donna?
East on October, and then November we'll have it at Muhlenberg South
That's correct.
Elementary. All right, board members, I need a motion to take Mr. McCarty's recommendation.
I make a motion that we change the location for the October and November board meetings to accommodate previous
Commitments.
scheduled events.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a
second it.
We have a second. Any further questions or questions? All in favor of changing location sites for the October and November board meeting, please say aye. Aye. All opposed in doing so, please say no. Motion carries. B, second reading of the amended policy, food service, nutritional services, Mrs. Cooper.
Chairman Tartar, board members, I'm asking that you consider this the second reading of the amended policy 07.1. There have been no changes.
Board members, I need a motion to consider Mrs. Cooper's recommendation that we do the second, approve the second reading of the school policy for the food, school, nutrition services.
I move that we approve the second reading of the amended policy.
Second.
We have a first and we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of doing so, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none, motion carries. Ms. Probus, consider bids for the audio equipment upgrade for Martin Hall.
Chairman Tartar and members of the board, as you recall at the last board meeting, I presented the information to you in regards to a grant that we have received from the Felix Martin Foundation to upgrade the audio system in Martin Hall. So we sent out for bids, and I'm asking now for your approval on the bid that we received, the bids that we received. The lowest bid coming in from Concept Sound and Lighting. The bids ranged from $75,000 up to $102,000. But in looking over, I felt like the lowest bid was actually the better option.
Okay.
And again, a reminder that this is fully funded by the Martin Foundation, so there's no expense to the school board.
Any questions for Mr. Provost? On just for my sake, the bid number 2 and 3 was just for the same company. It seems like from Louisville. What was the difference?
Yes, sir. They submitted 2 different bids with different equipment, but they wanted to have 2 options for us.
Okay. Any other questions we have, Mr. Provost? So I need a motion to,
I move we accept the lowest bid of $75,403.
I'll second.
we have a first and we have a second to approve the bids for the auto equipment upgrade for Martin Hall. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor of doing so, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. Thank you, David. I did ask you a question. I did ask you a question. Remember?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, all right, down to board action item D, approve the second reading of the amended policy for the school-related student trips. This is, board members, this is related to Martin Hall and the Muhlenberg County Theater, that we provide school trips to them during the school. We've done this for several years. We had the first reading last board meeting. It's just kind of a housekeeping thing that we failed to put it on our policies at the board, and I'm just asking for the board to consider the second reading of the amended policy for the school-related student trips. And I'll make that motion that we approve the second reading.
I second.
We have a first and second on this. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor of approving second reading of amended policy 09.36 school-related student trip, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none, motion carries. Next is item E, to approve the second reading of the amended policy 09.123, the absences and excuses for these kids that participate in these productions from the theaters during the school day. This is, we had a first reading in the last board meeting. So I'm asking the board to consider the second reading of this amended policy. And I'll make a motion to approve it.
I second it.
We have a first and we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of doing so, approving this policy, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. We're down to board action item F, district assurances. Mr. Parkins.
Thank you, Dr. Tarter. Board members, you have before you in your packets the district assurances for the year. We do different types of assurances depending on what area we're focusing on. We do Safe Schools assurances, we do Title I program assurances, but this action tonight is really the culmination of everything that we are required to be doing as a district to be in compliance not only through federal funding, but through really everything we do for our schools, focusing on our kids. It's an extensive document that you have seen, and I went through and I highlighted just a few of the biggest items on there just so that we can all know what we are looking at. By approving, I am assuring to you that the assurances are carried out through my own knowledge and use, or by getting with supervisors or other area people that can attest to the same. Again, I've shared with you, board members, that a majority or almost everything that we do when we're working in these areas has already been pre-approved by consultants that we work with at the State Department and through trainings and things that we go through. But just to hit some of the highlights, this assurance and compliance document covers district and school improvement planning, federal funds in regards to budgeting and use, Gun-Free Schools Act, FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act, strategies to close achievement gaps, Common Core standards implementation and assessments, trainings required for teachers, English language learner supports, career and tech education offerings, special education program requirements and everything that is encompassed with special education, preschool programs, gifted and talented programs, our ESS offerings and programs, technology in learning and achievement, And it even covers, and I had to look this one up, smoke-free schools. So by approving the assurances that you have in this packet tonight, we are, as a group and as a board and as a whole, assuring that we are in compliance with all of these areas. Do you have any questions?
Board members, we have a recommendation by Mr. Perkins to approve these district assurances. I'll need a motion to do so.
I make a motion that we approve the district assurances.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further questions for Mr. Perkins or discussion? All in favor of approving the district assurances, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
You're welcome.
We're down to G, they approve the school fees. Mrs. Browning.
Board members, included in your package, you'll find a listing of each of the school's fee structures for the 2016-17 school year, along with your decision paper. This is something that the schools submit yearly for board approval. I respectfully ask that you consider and approve the school fee list for 2016-17.
I move that we approve the student fee request for each school for the 2016-17
We have a first and a second motion to do this. Any further discussion? Mrs. Browning, just, for clarification, that people don't know that some kids that cannot afford some of these fees, these will be provided by...
No child is denied.
No child is denied for these fees for school.
Accommodations are made
Just
for
want
those
to
children.
just make that aware before we approve this. So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of approving the district fees, the school fees, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brown. The last board action item is to approve the financial corporation recommendation for refinancing. Earlier, we had the Muhlenberg County Financial Corporation approve this. Now we need board approval. I'll turn it.
You covered it, Dr. basically.
Okay.
It's just you are now saying that you accept the adoption that was done by the Finance Corporation to refinance the bonds for the savings of $662,000.
So, board members, right now I need a motion to approve the recommendation for refinancing.
I make the motion that we approve the refinancing.
We have a motion to approve the recommendation for refinancing. I'll need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion or question for Mr. Buttsinger? All in favor of doing so, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Last item is the board consent agenda. Mr. McCarty, is everything in place? Okay. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda. And I'll make that motion.
I second it.
We'll have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Before we end the meeting, I certainly want to thank our tech people, Sherry and Muhlenberg South Elementary, for having us here. I know it's a logistic nightmare to move the board meetings, and we appreciate everybody that came tonight. I know it's been a long day for a lot of you, and we appreciate your attendance. And right now, we need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor of doing so, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.